Um, okay, and then the final department report is the COVID-19 public meeting process.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Vice Mayor Lingenfelder in our last meeting had asked for kind of an update of where we've been and where we're going with public meetings. And I don't know how many of you watched the League of Cities opening opening keynote speakers, but it consisted of the ASU, U of A, and Northern Arizona college presidents. And all three of the presidents of those colleges talked about really looking at new ways of doing things that we never considered before. And this, what we're engaged in right now, it is that great experiment that I never thought prior to a global pandemic that we would be holding council meetings via Zoom. Matter of fact, prior to the COVID-19, I didn't even know about Zoom. Go-to meeting maybe, but anyway, so we've been doing our meetings virtually, as you all know. We started out, when it first started, by trying to do this with phone calls, and that was very difficult, incredibly difficult for people to hear, participate in, and so to be honest, if there's something to be happy about, we were happy to discover that there was the Zoom opportunities. So we've been doing our meetings virtually, and when it became clear that we were going to be doing Zoom meetings and the pandemic was going to be around for a while, I reached out to the county in early June, and basically what I asked for was the opportunity to use for us to go back. We had been there, but to go back to the Board of Supervisors auditorium and be able to conduct our meetings there. And on June 11th, the board voted to not allow us to go back and into their space based on the pandemic and the desire to not expose people in the county building to any more visitors than they had to. So at that time. Since that time, of course, we've continued with our Zoom meetings, and the great experiment you saw tonight was public comment. That obviously there's some stuff to be ironed out there as well. And I'm always looking for opportunities in which we can improve our public meetings, council meetings. And also remembering that our council meetings, what we decide here, also somewhat affects our commission meetings. And all of our commission meetings have been virtual as well. So where we are right now is I've really tasked the IT department and Annie. We've been working together to try to figure out what we can do moving forward based on the pandemic requirements, the CDC guidelines, and the governor's executive orders. And we find ourselves wanting to hold our meetings, go back to what was before. And I find that increasingly difficult. But one of the things that we are working on right now is the ability to do a live meeting that incorporates Zoom as an option. And we're still working out the details on that. Our space, our council room is limited, and it does not allow for a lot of social distancing. So as we look at these options, we're trying to make sure that the public and the elected officials and the city team feel safe. Obviously, that's number one priority, and that everybody that wants to participate has the opportunity to participate in our meetings. And so that becomes a challenge for us. Now, as far as remote meetings, the really our two options are the Board of Supervisors auditorium and our council chambers. The public has become accustomed to, and the expectation is that when we hold our meetings that we're broadcasting them and that people can hear them. So remote meetings become an extremely, especially our council meetings, but this would go to commission meetings as well, is that those remote meetings with the camera systems that we have to have in place, as well as the microphone systems, would end up costing us thousands of dollars, and the meeting site still would be unknown. Just not a lot of large meeting spaces within the city of Kingman. But we are working on trying to figure out how to do the live meeting in conjunction with the Zoom meeting and still be able to accomplish the social distancing requirements and still allow public participation as they've come to expect from the old city council way of doing business. And so that's where we are. My hope is, and what we're working towards, is that we would have some kind of mix of open live meeting with some kind of Zoom capability in October is what we're shooting for. Again, based on the regulations of the CDC and the governor's executive orders. So
Thank you, Matt.
That's what I have.
Okay, well, I'll open it to others, but I would like to first make some comments. You brought up yesterday's opening session of the league, which I also attended, and it was true to me that Dr. Crow from ASU, their president, gave some really, enthusiastic comments about the need and for the willingness to adapt and adjust. I think I am quoting him correctly there. And because he said everything that the movement now to advance technology and in educational models and health models and all of these things, it's moving so fast that advancement is going to continue after the pandemic is over. And new models of work that everyone is adopting. So I think that hybrid that you're talking about has merit. And I also mentioned that today I attended, this is my third Zoom meeting, and the other two were both originated in Phoenix. But the first one was the League, which was the Resolutions Committee and the business meeting. And so we can still even use Zoom more effectively by learning how to vote. We were all voting on these resolutions, and there were lots of people in this meeting from all over the state, maybe 80 or so. Well, it's so easy when they just put it up on the screen, vote yes, vote no, and you submit it, and then they give you immediate feedback on how the vote went. So that was really impressive. I hadn't participated in that before. And then the second meeting was the Arizona Workforce Council, and that was just what you're describing, Ron, which was they had a big room with maybe 5 or 7 people in it, and that was taking place. Everybody else was on Zoom. Pardon me. So I've seen that model kind of at work today. And it worked very well. Everybody, the speakers came on, the presentations were on, videos came on, but occasionally it'd be see the people in the big room, which was a live kind of setting where they were orchestrating this. So I'm glad to hear that we are moving in that direction, because it seems to me, based on my experience now, that that kind of works. Any other comments from the council or questions?
Mayor, this is Vice Mayor Lingenfelter. I would just like to thank Manager Foggin and his staff for sharing the thought process and also their push for our adaptation. I know for many months now we've had the call to the public, and that's been evolving, but we haven't had really a lot of citizens, like a normal meeting, poll or want to comment on one of our agenda items. So I think we're sort of evolving that way, and I love to see that, and I just want to thank him for his work and his staff's hard work and dedication. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Anything? I told Annie today, she's becoming the superstar on Zoom to learn. It is a learning curve, and I think we're getting better and better at it. Any other comments? Okay, then that concludes the department reports. Thank you all.